OutCasted OC. Viewer discretion is advised. Incoming transmission in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hey everybody, it's Courtney here from the OutCasted OC podcast and welcome to this week's Monday Night Raw review. As you can guys see, I am back in my regular filming space. I've got some new additions behind me to the collection. I'm excited to be back in this room. It feels as though I've been out of here for a couple of weeks when it comes to the Monday Night Raw recaps. I'm excited to be home. So let's get straight into this week's episode of Monday Night Raw. So this week's episode of Monday Night Raw starts off with the Judgment Day making their way out to the ring. I mean, would it be Monday Night Raw if Judgment Day didn't either start, be in the middle of the show, or be at the end of the show? So Judgment Day started off the show this week. They all come out. Damian Priest grabs microphones for everybody and he welcomes everybody to Monday Night Raw and obviously asks everybody to all rise for the Judgment Day. Finn Balor then hops on the mic and obviously congratulates the Creed brothers. They have their match against the Judgment Day tonight on Monday Night Raw for the tag titles. He says, "Well done." Follows on by saying that you've earned this opportunity after working your way through the gauntlet match, and this is going to be the biggest night of your guys' life. But for us, this is just another night at the office. And he obviously mentions the fact that they are two-time tag team champions and follows on by saying this is going to be really difficult for you guys. Rhea Ripley then comes in and says that she wants Ivy Nile to stop running her mouth and that she's going to do the exact same thing to Ivy that she did to Maxine last week. It says that Judgment Day ran the entirety of 2023 and there is so much more to come for 2024, and says that we will run 2024 in WWE. R-Truth makes his way out to the ring and he's like, "Hey guys, like, you left me behind. I didn't know that we were opening the show." And he's wearing that new Judgment Day t-shirt, the one with the words, so like the names. And down the bottom he's got taped and it says like R-Truth, which is quite funny. That shirt doesn't even mention JD, but that's totally fine. Obviously says, "What's up?" to the crowd. The crowd goes, "What's up?" JD McDonough pops in and he's like, "What the hell are you doing here?" And R-Truth follows on by saying, "Well, I'm in the Judgment Day now, aren't I? Like, that beatdown that we had last week that you guys were all beating down on me, that was my initiation to the group. Am I wrong? I'm hurt physically and hurt emotionally by that." And he follows on and he's like, obviously trying to tease Damian Priest. He's like, "Damian, like, I know you like me." He calls him DP. He's like, "DP, I know you like me." JD McDonough warns R-Truth to leave, and Truth follows on and he's like, I want to squash this beef with the Judgment Day, and how better to do that than have a street fight match between you and me. So he's referring to JD McDonough tonight, and R-Truth wants to make the stipulation of the match that the loser needs to leave Judgment Day. Now, I've been saying this for a long time. It could be a stipulation within the faction. I think it's quite funny that R-Truth is the one that's making these kind of calls. He's not really in the faction, but I think it's funny that he's out here making these kind of assumptions. And JD McDonough follows on. He's like, "Actually, like, this match was already scheduled for tonight. Like, I don't understand why you're confused and making this happen now." But anyway, they then get into the match. Straight away, R-Truth is looking very strong. He's been out of in-ring action for about a year. He's looking really strong, looking really physically fit. He is just dominating, and he pulls his belt off his pants and starts hitting JD McDonough with them. There's a whole bunch of different things set outside the ring, so like tables and obviously everything that they'd have in these kind of like festive street fights. They do the same thing when it comes to Halloween and Thanksgiving, so they've done the same for Christmas. So R-Truth throws JD McDonough into a table that's set outside the ring, and there's Christmas trees being thrown around as well too. R-Truth goes and hugs Dominic Mysterio. Dominic ends up throwing R-Truth into the ring post. Truth then goes under the ring and grabs a table, and he throws Dominic into the stairs. We see R-Truth use the fire extinguisher on JD McDonough, and then he ends up paying homage to John Cena doing the 5-knuckle shuffle, which was quite cool. We see both R-Truth and JD McDonough go through the table at the same time, but JD stays down for the 3 count and R-Truth comes away with the win. So is JD McDonough actually in the Judgment Day, or is he gone because of what R-Truth has said? Very interesting. I really enjoyed this match. As I said, Truth looks really good. I'm so happy that he's back in the ring performing because he does an amazing job. We had a backstage video segment for Caden Carter and Katana Chance, hyping them up for their match tonight. Now they're obviously going up against the tag champions, Chelsea Green and Piper Niven, for the tag titles. Super excited for this match. They cut a promo before their match, which is actually happening later on in the night. After this, we see Nia Jax make her way out to the ring. She grabs a microphone and she looks like she is set in the middle of the ring to cut a promo. Becky Lynch comes in and starts interrupting, and obviously she makes her way down to the ring. Nia then leaves the ring. Becky hops in the ring and asks if she's scared of Becky, if Nia is scared of her. Nia says she's got more important things to be dealing with, and I actually was going to make the announcement that I'm entering the Royal Rumble. Becky's like, look man, I'm here looking for a fight. Nia goes and says, well, do you know why we've never fought? And it's because the people back there, referring to everybody who's higher up, are afraid of what I'm going to do to you. You are the money maker, and if you and I get into a match and I finish you, you're done. And she references the fact that Becky Lynch is the size of her leg, which I get why she said it. She's big, she's strong, she's powerful. She's showing that Becky Lynch is much smaller in frame than Nia, but I think you could have made a different reference there. But anyway, Becky says, you're scared. You're scared that once you're finished in the ring with me, you will no longer be known as associated to somebody, because when Nia first started out, she was always associated with her cousins, and now her claim to fame is that she's the one who made the man, who beat the man, who basically like punched her to the point where obviously she made Becky Lynch into the man. And she follows on by saying, how about you prove me wrong, and how about we fight tonight? She calls, Nia's still outside of the ring. She's down by the entrance ramp and she calls out for a ref. She's like, all right, fine, let's get a ref in here. She pretends to come down to the ring. The ref gets in the ring. Becky's ready to go, but then Nia actually ends up leaving and says that this match needs to happen at the day one episode of Monday Night Raw. So they've made that day one premium live event and Raw, they've merged it together instead of having it as its own separate thing. And we see a moment where Nia Jax is saying to Becky Lynch, how about we have this match then, and then I'll beat your face so much to the point where when you're with your daughter's going to say, why do you look uglier than normal? And we see Becky end up running down the entrance ramp and she jumps Nia and they get into a full-blown brawl. We see Nia Jax end up hitting Becky Lynch in the face and she's left on the ground, so Becky Lynch isn't looking so great after this. I'm excited for this match. I think it's going to be good. I like how they've played off this real life history that they have with each other. I think it's going to be really interesting. After this, we kind of see a few different incidences with this character throughout the night. So Kofi Kingston is playing Santa Claus throughout the night. So we got a wee little teaser, like when I say teaser, I mean like a video recap of him earlier in the night giving gifts to the crowd dressed as Santa Claus. He's backstage and he runs into DIY and he asks DIY, like, what would you guys like for Christmas? And DIY responds by saying, we want the tag titles for Christmas, which we're obviously not going to get, but that's a Christmas present we want in the long term. Then DIY ends up running into The Miz and they thank him for last week and they said that it was awesome going up against him. Obviously all of them have history with each other, but it was nice to see that they could be on the other end of that. Jackie Redmond comes in and asks The Miz how he's feeling about his match tonight against Gunther. Now Miz and Gunther are going up against each other after this backstage segment, and the stipulation behind it is that if Gunther is the one to beat The Miz can no longer challenge for the Intercontinental Championship while Gunther is holding the title. And he said that, 3 weeks ago I pushed Gunther to his limits and I'm ready to finish what I started. After this, we then end up seeing the match between The Miz and Gunther. Now, straight away from the beginning, Miz is looking very strong and Gunther is working really strong as well too. Miz ends up working on some chops and trying to kick down Gunther, and Miz goes for an ankle lock, which he turns into a death lock. Gunther hits a really nice powerbomb on Miz and then follows this up by a really nice big boot, and he just ends up beating down on The Miz on the ground. Miz and Gunther end up doing a quick chop exchange, and then Gunther ends up reversing this to a really nice uppercut as well too. Miz goes in for a crossbody and then Gunther ends up catching him. Miz ends up moving before Gunther chops him there outside of the ring, and then Gunther ends up chopping his hand against the ring post, which is obviously a big thing that's played into for the rest of the match. Obviously, is Gunther's hand going to hold up to all the pressure that Miz is now putting on it? We end up seeing Miz hit two really nice DDTs, and then Gunther has this really nice sequence. He ends up doing a missile drop kick followed by a powerbomb into a Boston Crab. It was really nice. Gunther hits a wonderful clothesline, and we see Miz hit a skull-crushing finale from the second rope. We see a powerbomb and clothesline coming in from Gunther for him to retain the Intercontinental Championship. I think it's really interesting how they're doing this. Now, obviously, Miz can no longer challenge for the title because Gunther retained the championship in their match. So it really begs the question, who is going to be the person to dethrone Gunther from the Raw roster? Or could we see someone from the SmackDown roster come and do it? Straight after the match, we end up seeing Gunther walking backstage. Now, he's obviously just had his match against The Miz, and he runs into the entirety of Imperium, so Giovanni and Ludwig, and they're so excited for Gunther because he retained the championship. They're congratulating him, and Gunther does not look happy at all. He quite literally is like, you guys have no reason to be jolly. 2023 for you guys has been a complete write-off, and you have done nothing to help this faction. I'm the only person who's been doing everything for this group. He follows on by saying that he's going to be taking a couple of weeks off, and while he's gone, he is expecting Ludwig and Giovanni to grind and impress him. We end up seeing Kofi come in, and he's asking what they want for Christmas, and he ends up giving Ludwig Kaiser some coal. So it's really interesting to see the dynamic between Imperium and obviously Kofi coming in and just pouring salt in the wound while they're really upset and obviously trying to help Gunther and impress Gunther. We see Shinsuke Nakamura reading a Christmas story backstage. Now, he reads The Nightmare Before Christmas, but he calls it The American Nightmare Before Christmas, which is obviously very much leaning into the Cody Rhodes storyline he's got going on at the moment. He reads a story and he obviously talks about how he assaulted Cody, and he's saying that he's going to be Cody's last fight. And then we end up seeing Cody Rhodes run in and he starts assaulting Shinsuke Nakamura. They end up brawling backstage and it makes its way into the crowd as well too. After this, we see Adam Pearce and Akira Tozawa talking backstage, and Akira's asked Adam Pearce for a match, and Adam's like, are you sure you want this match? And Akira's like, yep, absolutely. So he goes off in his merry way. Chelsea Green and Piper Niven come in and they are asking Adam Pearce to cancel the match because they are not feeling well. Obviously, he's not going to cancel the match because they're there and everyone's ready to go. And Chelsea's following on by saying, well, I'm going to call Nicholas Aldis. I don't know what her affinity is with Nick Aldis. Maybe she wants to be a SmackDown superstar, but anyway. Then we see Bronson Reed come in and he asks to talk to Adam Pearce because of the Intercontinental Champion. Bronson Reed come in and he quickly asks Adam Pearce if they can have a meeting about the state of the Intercontinental Championship, considering The Miz is no longer allowed to challenge if Gunther is the champion. So we get straight into the women's tag team match. So this is Chelsea Green and Piper Niven taking on Kayden Carter and Katana Chance. Straight away, there is a lot of in-ring chemistry going on between Kayden and Carter. They've obviously been working together for years. They've got so much in-ring chemistry together. So Kayden and Chelsea are working each other really well. There's some beautiful sequencing coming in, a lot of really nice moves coming in from the two of them. We see Piper Niven come in and she knocks Kayden Carter off the ring apron, and then she ends up dominating Katana. Kayden and Katana starting to get more in sync with each other, and we see Piper end up squashing both of them, and she ends up accidentally splashing Chelsea Green. We see a really nice spinning leg drop by Kayden Carter, and then we end up seeing Piper Niven hit a really nice running senton. We see the kickstand move, it doesn't go their way. Then we see the after party and we have new tag team champions. So Kayden Carter and Katana Chance are now the new WWE Women's Tag Team Champions, which I'm so excited. I feel as though they really should have been the champions from the very beginning. I don't see why we had to have all this extra work go on for them to become tag team champions after all this time, when they are probably one of the most established tag teams in the entirety of WWE. Making them work for it like that, I understand, but took way too long, to be perfectly honest. After this, we end up seeing that Piper Niven is like sitting outside of the ring and she does not look happy. Whether or not she's upset because she accidentally attacked Chelsea and Chelsea's not going to be happy, or she's upset with herself, I'm not too sure. We have a couple of backstage segments, so let's quickly go through those. We see Ivy Nile, she is warming up for Rhea Ripley, and she said that she has asked Adam Pearce for a match against Rhea Ripley. We see Akira Tozawa and the rest of Alpha Academy in there, and Akira is telling everybody that he has a match and he's going up against Ivar. Chad's like, look, I told you to go big, but you don't have to go that big. As we see the new tag team champions come out backstage, and they are obviously just finishing their match, and they are celebrated by all the other women's tag teams. So Tegan and Natalia, we see that Shayna and Zoe are there. We also see that Indy and Candice are there as well too, and they're celebrating their win. And we see Kofi Kingston come in and asks what they want, but then obviously Kayden and Katana have just won the tag team championships, so they say that they've won everything that they want. We end up seeing Indy and Candice leaving, and we see a face-off between Shayna, Zoe, Natalia, and Tegan. And Natalia goes ahead and says, well, now that we've got new tag team champions, they need new challengers. I'm like, not you, that's for sure. We have the match between Ivar and Akira Tozawa. I am being honest, this really disappointed me. It was not a long match. Honestly, I don't understand why they keep putting Akira in these situations where he is just made to absolutely be squashed by a bigger man. I just don't understand it. Ivar overpowered Akira. Sorry if I'm talking about this with like little enthusiasm. I just don't think it's necessary. And I also hate the Viking Raiders. Like, they actually need to get off my screen. They are ridiculous. Akira has some really quick speed and he does a spike DDT, but then he ends up getting overpowered by Ivar, and Ivar pretty much takes control for the rest of the match and comes away with the win. Don't know why I had to spend 35 seconds talking about Ivar. I would have rather not. After this, we have CM Punk video recap. So obviously they're talking about what happened last week, the major news of CM Punk signing to Monday Night Raw and the confrontation that he had with Seth Rollins inside the ring. We got to see pretty much the entirety of that just in a short form. So if you hadn't seen it, now you've seen it. See Seth Rollins is walking backstage, making his way out to the ring, and after the commercial break, he comes out, welcomes everybody to Monday Night Rollins, and he says that, things are really heating up for me, and I'm more motivated to be the best world champion in history, and that starts at day 1 against Drew McIntyre, and then he goes on by saying, at Crown Jewel, Drew McIntyre, and then he ends up making himself known. So Drew McIntyre comes and interrupts the segment, and Seth is just like, look, man, I don't know what you want, but I'm just going to tell you straight up, I haven't forgotten about that headbutt you gave me a couple of weeks ago, so I would tread very carefully. Drew responds to this and says, look, I'm proud of you. You told CM Punk the truth last week, and that shows that you are a real leader. You are the World Heavyweight Champion, and you are technically in your home crowd, and that must feel good, shouldn't it? And Drew says, well, I took some time away a couple months ago and I went home and I started to feel really guilty about the last 16 years being away from my family and all the sacrifices that we've had to make. And, and he brings Becky Lynch into this, obviously, as Seth Rollins' real life wife. And he's like, you've probably had conversations with Becky like this before. Am I doing the right thing by being so far away from my family, trying to achieve my goals? And obviously you've been there to help her through this time. And, Drew McIntyre gets real sappy and sentimental and says, look, I don't want your title. I need your title. I need to be able to feel like everything has been worth it and I'm willing to hurt you for it. Seth Rollins responds to this and he's like, look, I just don't really know how to take you at the moment. Like 1 minute you're wanting to beat me up and the next minute you're wanting to say you're proud of me, and you're basically flip-flopping so much. We don't know the real Drew, and we also just don't know what's going on. He says, look, I respect you. But will the outcome of this situation be any different? Probably not. Are you going to have to lie, cheat, and, use a whole bunch of shortcuts to be able to beat me? You're going to go ahead and blame others, but ultimately this is your responsibility and this is your reality, is that you're not going to beat me. And he said, I told CM Punk that I hated him, and I'm going to tell you now that I pity you, Drew. He says, Merry Christmas, Drew, and walks off, and then they end up getting into a brawl because Drew McIntyre is obviously not happy at the situation, where they are brawling in the entranceway, and we see Drew McIntyre hit a really nice Alabama slam onto Seth Rollins on the ring steps. Seth is selling a shoulder / elbow arm injury, so it'd be interesting to see if this plays a part into their match in a couple of weeks' time. Now, obviously, this is happening on the day 1 episode of Monday Night Raw. We had a couple more backstage segments, so let's quickly go through those. The Creed brothers are warming up and hyping themselves up for their match against the Judgment Day in the main event of Monday Night Raw. They see Cody Rhodes come in and Cody says, look, thank you so much for everything you did last week. And the Creeds are like, look, we're always here for you. And Cody Rhodes wishes them luck for their match, and they just completely geek out backstage. They're like, oh my God, it's Cody Rhodes, it's Cody Rhodes. Then we see Kofi Claus come back into the arena, and he starts giving out more gifts to the crowd. And we see Imperium start beating down on Kofi, and we see Jey Uso make the save. And then this quickly, in the ad break, turns into a match between Ludwig Kaiser and Jey Uso. So straight away from the very beginning, Ludwig's looking really strong, but then Jey ends up turning the match around, and Ludwig hits a really nice clothesline on Jey Uso. There's a lot of interference coming in from Giovanni Vinci, but then Ludwig ends up hitting a really nice uppercut onto Jey, and we see a really nice step up in Saguri from Jey Uso as well. Ludwig ends up rolling Jey, and Jey hits a really nice super kick. Again, more interference coming in from Giovanni Vinci. But then we end up seeing Kofi Kingston come out, and he starts to neutralize Giovanni Vinci. We see Jey hit a really nice Uso splash to go for the win. Could we see Jey Uso dethrone Gunther? I'm starting to get the feeling that we could, and to be honest, I really wouldn't be mad at it. I feel like that would be a really good singles title to give Jey Uso before you give him the opportunity to be the world champion. I feel like that'd be a really good test run. I'm so incredibly here for it. Are taken to the Judgment Day clubhouse backstage, and we can see that JD McDonough is really upset backstage. He's looking really upset after his loss against R-Truth, and everyone is laughing backstage. Damien and JD end up getting into semantics about who is making the stipulations for these matches official, whether it should be us or it should be R-Truth, because R-Truth is not a part of the Judgment Day, so he really shouldn't be making decisions like this. And Rhea is obviously talking about how her match against Ivy Nile has been made official for the day 1 version of Monday Night Raw. That'll be exciting to see, and she is hyping up Finn and Damien before their match against the Creed brothers, which actually happens right now. It's finally that time. We come to the main event. So we have the Creed brothers taking on the Judgment Day, so Finn Balor and Damian Priest, for the WWE Undisputed Tag Team Championships. Now, I was really excited for this match. I feel like this is a fresh matchup we haven't seen in a very long time. To be honest, I wasn't really mad at the fact that Judgment Day were in the main event, because this match obviously has come from the Creed brothers proving themselves to the point where they want to take on the tag champs. So let's get straight into it. Straight away from the very beginning, the match starts in the Creed brothers' favour. Julius is taking down Finn Balor and has some really nice deep arm drags, not only to Finn Balor, but Damian Priest as well. We see a really nice fireman's carry coming in from Brutus, and then we end up seeing Damian Priest follow this up by clotheslining Julius. Julius is then thrown into the ring steps, and we end up seeing Brutus smashing Damian and Finn. We see a gut wrench move come in by Brutus as well too, which was really cool to see. Damian ends up sending Brutus over the commentary table, and Brutus hits a really nice suplex onto Damian Priest after the commercial break. After this, Julius is hitting multiple belly-to-bellies and hits a really nice shooting star as well too. Now, Ivy Nile is ringside as well as Rhea Ripley, and we see a moment where Rhea's trying to neutralize Ivy, but then Ivy ends up lifting Rhea Ripley on her shoulders and slams her into the ring apron. So obviously this match between the two of them is just going to be power versus power, which I'm so incredibly here for. After this, we see the Creed brothers set up the Brutus Ball, which obviously does not go to plan, and we end up seeing Julius throwing himself at Damian Priest. They end up putting the electric chair move, so it's just one of them on top of the other, which we end up seeing the Creed brothers reversing this move from the Judgment Day into a Brutus Ball, and then we end up seeing Damian Priest hit his South of Heaven chokeslam to come away with the win. So Judgment Day end up retaining the tag team titles. As I said, this was a really cool match, super chaotic, but it was super fresh to see two tag teams who we haven't seen before go up against each other in the main event. I really loved this. I feel as though if we get some more matches like this where the Creed brothers can get away with a win, whether it's for the tag titles or not, the Creed brothers are really impressing me. I'm so incredibly happy that I get to talk about them on Monday Night Raw. As I said, I feel like we need a lot more fresh tag teams in the division, and if this is a way to spice it up, I'm totally here for it. And with that brings me to the end of this recap and review for Monday Night Raw. Sad news, guys, this is actually my last Monday Night Raw review for the year. I believe the group is planning on taking some time off over Christmas, so I will not be doing any more Raw reviews for the rest of 2023. We're taking a couple of weeks off. I'm so grateful that you guys have been here for these reviews. These reviews have been so much fun for me to film, and I've definitely learnt how to film them better than obviously what my first one was like. I'm really enjoying doing these. I feel as though we're really finding our groove here, so I'm so excited to come back in 2024 with some fresh new reviews for you guys. Obviously talk about wrestling as well too. 2024 in WWE is looking so incredibly bright. I'm so excited to be able to talk about that with you guys. If you guys stuck around to the end of the video, thank you so much for watching. Please make sure you go ahead and like and comment on the video. Go ahead and tell me something that you enjoyed about Monday Night Raw, and if you think that Jey Uso is going to be the one to dethrone Gunther, while you're there, make sure you go ahead and subscribe to the channel, turn the post notifications on, that wee little bell, so you don't miss any of our uploads or any of our reviews or our podcasts. While you're there as well too, make sure you go ahead and check out the description. It's all of our personal social medias there, as well as where you can find OutCasted on Twitter, Instagram and TikTok as well too. We put content there so that whilst we're not here, we're still keeping you guys entertained with wrestling content. You'll have an NXT review coming in from Reese this week, as well as a podcast with the rest of the gang. Unfortunately, I will not be there because I will be working, which sad times because I hate missing the podcasts, but I'm sure the gang will be able to entertain you without me present. SmackDown reviews coming in as well too this week, as well as an AEW week in review. But as I said, thank you guys so much for being here with me through this journey. Honestly, it's been so much fun, and I cannot wait to come back refreshed and rejuvenated to talk about WWE Raw with you guys. I'll see you guys later.